everyone, it's me Beata from horoscopesandreadings.com, and today I would like to discuss composite chart. First of all, I will as usually type something into the chat and then I will continue with everything I wanted to tell you about composite chart, okay? So first really let me check chat. Okay.
Nie všetky dojčenské mlieka obsahujú.
One moment. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so hello everyone, it's me Beata again. Hopefully everything is just fine and we can start this live stream. This is really my first video about composite chart and I really don't know why I have never talked about this before, because always when I read a chart of my clients, relationship horoscope, I always include composite into the reading, right? Because in my opinion, synastry reading is not complete without reading also your composite chart. I don't know how familiar you are with composite chart, and you can indeed ask me your questions if you want to. But composite chart is so-called artificial chart, right? So it is really chart that doesn't exist in a real life, okay? That's why some astrologers don't like this chart, because it is really something, which was made or calculated by people. But I have really great experiences with composite chart, and really in each reading I always include composite chart. Now for you to have, let's say, a better perception what composite chart really is, so let's take very simple example, and I am really very simplifying here. But for instance, if you have, like, I don't know, Sun in Pisces on 10th degrees of Pisces, and your partner has also Sun in Pisces on 20 degrees of Pisces, then you will have composite Sun in Pisces as well on 15 degrees of Pisces. Of course, this is very, simple example and not very realistic, right? Because this is rather rare. So that's why we have programs to calculate a composite chart for us, right? But it is really a chart that doesn't exist in a real life, but it somehow works. And this is what I consider the most important here. Now, it is really composite chart what tells us destiny of the relationship, what tells us outcome of the relationship. That means why are two people together in the first place, right? Because really we all have different reasons why we even start a relationship or maintain a relationship, and trust me on this, it is really not allowed every time. So it is really composite chart what can tell us the big picture of the relationship. As I have mentioned, it will also tell us the end of the relationship. How to tell the end? Transits work best on composite chart. So you will have your composite chart, and if you are more advanced or experienced astrologer, you can check transit on your composite chart, and whenever you are experiencing difficult transits to your composite chart, we can bet that there is something going on in a relationship, and you know, if you have difficult transits, sometimes it is really the end. Now, maybe you are wondering what is the difference between composite chart and synastry chart. Well, in my opinion, synastry chart is more about daily functioning or daily interaction of the couple, right? So really, if we take like synastry houses overlay, it is really all about like you are experiencing transits of planets in a particular houses, and you are really experiencing this on a daily basis with your partner. So for instance, if we have in synastry, I don't know, Venus in the first house, and you are the house person, then you are really experiencing this energy from your partner on a daily basis. That means that, you know, he finds you attractive, and you know, he likes your looks, and he can very much compliment you, and you really like it. So there's a lot of affection going on, and it will last, right? So this is synastry. You are really experiencing good or bad on a daily basis, and very same we can tell about synastry grid. Do you know synastry grid? It is really where are all the aspects between you and your partner, and it is really all about how you function on a daily basis, right? So I don't know if you have difficult Pluto Mars contact in synastry, that really means that you will really step well, you will experience a lot of power struggles between you, and this can really get nasty, but it really all depends on your individual birth charts, how you can handle, let's say, Pluto Mars opposition in synastry. But this will be your team, these will be your triggers on a daily basis. So you will pretty much every day find something irritating on each other, right? Of course, there is side effect of this particular hard contact, which is very nice, but you know, I don't want to go into the synastry today, but it is really to give you some sort of more information about it. Now, you know, I obviously have a professional program which calculates composite chart, but I believe that there are some free programs out there, and you can probably calculate a composite chart on astro.com. Okay, you know, composite chart is the most sensitive chart when it comes to birth time. Okay, so you really better know birth time of your partner if you want to calculate composite chart in the first place. Now, in my opinion, when you have your composite chart calculated, you will really get only one chart, right? Because composite chart is one chart, and it is really chart of your relationship. Okay, so you have to read composite chart as chart of one individual, one really separate entity, and it is you and your partner in a relationship. So what is great about composite is that you equally experience the energy in composite chart. So let's take very you know, simple example, like if you have Saturn square Venus contact in composite chart, you both will feel equally unloved by the other in a relationship. Okay, and you know, this is for real. Okay, you both there will come a day in a relationship, and we can be, or we could be very specific about the date when this will come, because it all can be really clearly seen in transits to your composite chart. But there will definitely come a day when you both will feel unloved by the other. Now, you know, I don't know why I picked I always pick difficult aspects, but When it comes to Saturn square Venus in a composite chart, well, I believe this is even worse than in comparison to synastry, okay? Because in composite chart, as I have told you, it is really outcome of the relationship. So it is really like you are destined not to like or love each other. It is really difficult to have this one, really. You know, hard contacts, in my opinion, are much more harder to handle in composite than in synastry, okay? Because, you know, I am currently preparing, and I will probably launch it still this week, my new advanced synastry and composite chart course. And you know, it is really platform where I will explain you how difficult synastry contacts can be much more manageable in daily interaction of the couple, or really couple can survive, and some couples are actually very happy even with hard synastry contacts. But this is very difficult when it comes to composite. You know, difficult contacts in composite are just difficult no matter what. Of course, we still have to look at everything, right? Because really, I perceive composite chart to be a big picture of the relationship, but then we can really break it down into the pieces, and it is very clearly seen. You know, planets in composite houses are equally very important, and you know, the best thing is that you and your partner will really experience the same energy, right? So I don't know, let's take a very brief example about first house in composite. And this is another case with composite houses, that composite houses are read differently in composite chart than in synastry and in a birth chart. And you know, I will go through each of the houses in my course, because I will cover really all houses of composite chart, and you will see the difference, or you will see how seventh house is really not that important in composite chart. But coming back to my example, first house of composite chart is really how other people perceive you as a couple. So I don't know, I had Jupiter in the first house with my partner, and we really seem to be very happy together, right? Because Jupiter is really marker of, let's say, to be very happy in a relationship, outgoing, you know. If you have Jupiter in the first house in composite chart, you really look good on the outside, right? You really look like you like each other, but reality was very different. But you know, this is how people perceive you. If you have Jupiter in the first house of composite, and you will, you know, get separated, you and your partner, people will look at you like, what are you doing? You were perfect together, you were our example of perfect couple. But this is what Jupiter does, you know. Jupiter creates only that aura that we are just fantastic together, but it may really it may not be true, okay? It is really just what other people perceive you as, you know, to be very happy, outgoing couple, and people like you. Now, when it comes to signs in composite chart, you know, I really don't pay attention that much to the sign, and this is something I have realized only for purposes of my course, because you know, composite sign, in my opinion, it gives, you know, sort of persona to the couple. So if you have rising in Libra, I don't know, you know, it is really not something important or something that I consider to even mention, because the biggest impact in composite chart is really on composite aspects, on composite houses and planets involved, and also if you want to predict outcome and the end of the relationship, you have to use transits to composite chart. Okay, this works really very well. Now I'm gonna take a couple of questions and then we will continue. Okay, so hi, thanks for this live. Yes, you're very welcome. Hi, hello everybody. Hi. So it's a pleasure to hear what you have to say. I have a doubt about composite moon. What can you say about moon in partile conjunction to the ascendant, conjunct to Saturn, conjunct to Pluto? I mean, I talk about an stellium where moon is in the same grade to the ascendant, but it is in the 12th. Saturn and Pluto are in conjunction in first. Well, yes. Okay. Oh, you know. Well. Where to start? When it comes to, okay, so they're really all together. You know, this is really heavy and important relationship, in my opinion. Every time when we have Pluto in the first house of composite chart, you are perceived to be very powerful couple together. But it is really not only that, because if you have Pluto and Saturn all together in the first house, I believe that you both equally experience this relationship to be heavy, difficult, and sometimes you feel like you are burdened, because sometimes when we have these two malefics in the first house, we really feel like there's too much going on in a relationship, but not only between you two, but sometimes other circumstances are very difficult for you to be together. You know, think about it this way. It is like, you know, sometimes you really want to chill and you don't want to deal with difficult stuff, but if you have this Saturn and Pluto, you are constantly living under the pressure. You are like in that pressure cooker, right? You both are equally experiencing it. That's why sometimes when we have these two planets in the first house, we might be separated and then coming back, because it is just too much going on, too much triggers, okay? Because these two planets are the most powerful. Now, Moon in the 12th house, so if it is still in the 12th house, you know, and there is again still that energy which is linked to Saturn and Pluto, so you both definitely don't take this interaction lightly. But problem with the moon in the 12th house, it is that there is something hidden in the relationship, and you both might have secrets, okay? So really, it might be like you are being a little bit dishonest or secretive, and you both are doing it to each other. You might not do it consciously, right? Like, I wanna lie to you, but you really may feel that there are some taboos in the relationship, and you both feel that there are some themes in a relationship that we just don't discuss, okay? So this is what moon to these difficult planets does. You know, moon is very vulnerable, right? And really, moon in the composite shows our emotional nature, where we give our feelings in a relationship. But moon in the 12th house, you know, if there was not involvement with Saturn and Pluto, there still would be a chance that you just like to shut the door in front of the world and really experience all the sort of solitude together. But what I sense there is that there's really a lot of pressure on the relationship itself, and you both are creating it, okay? Now, when it comes to another question, I am interested in knowing the difference between Uranus opposite Sun and Uranus square Sun in the composite. You know, as much as I am, let's say, fan of oppositions in synastry, I don't think very same about Uranus opposition or all oppositions in composite chart. However, in my opinion, opposition is still milder aspect because at least this couple is trying to find a solution, even though they are still, you know, coming to each other from opposite angles, but they are still trying. And you know, if both people are mature enough, there can really come a day where they will be able to experience this energy on, let's say, a bigger level. Uranus square Sun, there are constant clashes when it comes to our goals and even our careers. This is very disruptive, and you know, this Uranus square Sun often means that people cannot be together due to commitments of one person or another, right? There is really that theme of separation of the couple. So definitely there will come a day with Uranus square Sun that you either will be forced from the outside world, because Uranus is outer planet, to separate because of your work or of your other duties. And this can be, let's say, this may not be like forever, you can still come back, but this is something what you will feel that is unstable, right? So there will be this unstable part of the relationship that and it can very well be created by outside force. So this is what I think, but of course you have to check where in the composite chart is Uranus and where is Sun, and it is always good to check birth chart and Uranus and Sun if there is any linkage. Now, can a relationship with Sun square Neptune and Sun square Uranus survive a relationship despite a good synastry? What are some indicators of good and long relationship? You know, I talk about these things in my upcoming Advanced Synastry and Composite chart course, so you can check it out on my website horoscopesandreadings.com. I believe it will be ready tomorrow, because this is indeed very interesting questions, and there are indeed some indicators of long-term or even loving relationship. But really, I've seen this many times. If you have good composite chart, you can survive bad synastry. But this doesn't work on the flip side. So if you have like beautiful synastry, but your composite is just, you know, worst in the world, it is very difficult really to maintain that relationship, because you both will feel a lot of frustration. And you know, you have mentioned Sun square Uranus. I believe I have already answered it, but when it comes to Sun square Neptune, well, in my opinion, all difficult aspects from Neptune in composite chart are really difficult, because Neptune, you know, even if you have easy contacts from Neptune, it is still Neptune. But easy contacts from Neptune can add that romanticism and, you know, idealism to the relationship. But too much Neptune is just too much Neptune. I don't know if it is the only aspect you have in composite chart with Neptune, but you know, with Neptune square Sun, you you feel unstable. You both feel unstable in a relationship, and you both are not sure where this is all heading, right? And Uranus is great disruptor, so you have also Uranus square Sun, so both of you, but this can change because you can play that role and another time your partner will play that role. You will disrupt a relationship because you will not be sure where this is all heading, right? This is all I can tell you only from these two aspects without knowing anything else. You are a tremendous astrologer. Okay, thank you. I'm very glad you said that. I totally agree with your answers. Gracias. Yes, you're very welcome. Anytime. Hi, Sun in first house composite. Is it good? Okay. Absolutely. It's fantastic. It is even better in comparison if you have Sun in the first house in synastry. It is not always that great. Even some people might disagree, but there's a lot of ego trips going on. But in composite chart, it is actually fantastic. I have talked in the beginning of this live stream that first house in composite chart is read differently. That means it is really like how other people see us as the couple, okay? So with Sun in the first house, you radiate that aura of being very powerful and energetic together. So what Sun in the first house of composite creates is that you are very active together and you can actually achieve a lot, you know, your goals or things that are important for you in a relationship, and you both equally experience this energy and you both equally care for the relationship. So you know, always remind yourself when you read composite chart that you should definitely both feel this energy, right? Because when we are reading synastry, you know, everyone is always wondering who is feeling the effect, if both people, but with synastry it's different, and really we both don't feel equally in synastry, it is different, but with composite we feel things equally, okay? So whatever you are experiencing, whatever aspect you are experiencing in synastry, you both feel the effect of the other, okay? Now, okay, what does Sun trine Moon in synastry mean? Okay, this is always a very favorable thing to experience, but you know, this live stream is really not about synastry. So I will leave this question because, you know, I am really doing live streams also on synastry, but today I would like to talk about composite chart because this is really my first video about composite. So we will leave this question for next session. Thank you. I have a Sun 1 degree into the 11th house in the composite. Wondering if you would interpret this as Sun in the 10th house or 11th, and that Sun is opposite Uranus. Yes, yes. Okay, you know, this is really interesting because lately I had a reading and you know I had one reading and this was exactly what happened, but you know I would still read this Sun as being in the 10th house, okay? But it's okay. If you have 10th house Sun or 11th house, energy might be a little bit different, but these both houses are very important. So, but what tells me is that if you have that Uranian opposition there, that there will definitely be a theme of career and success, and you know some sort of adjustments. you have to do in order to really be together, because career and achievements will be equally important for you, but sometimes you will find it too difficult to really manage all your careers and also your relationship as well. But strong focus on career with sun in the 10th house is good. Okay, yeah, okay. So you meant composite sun trine moon. Well, composite sun trine moon is obviously a good sign, even in synastry, after all. But this is not something that will save your relationship, right? If you have this, it will bring easiness to the houses which are involved. So check your composite sun, where this sun sits in the composite chart, and also check composite moon, where composite moon sits. And this is where you have very, let's say, complementary energies and energies that work very well together. So these houses are, let's say, covered by this aspect in a good way. So this is where it all goes very easily for you as for the couple. Okay, so you better have it somewhere in the fourth, or in these important relationship houses. Okay, another question. Do you consider Chiron in composite? I really don't work with Chiron, okay? Only if I'm forced to. I don't know, I work definitely with Lilith. So I consider Lilith in birth chart, synastry and composite. But with Chiron, I don't know. I probably don't have experiences on this, but we all know that Chiron is that wounded healer, so it should have some effect, definitely. But I don't work with Chiron, but I will tell you something. Just check notes in composite, and you know how much you will be healed by this relationship or destroyed. Okay? You're fabulous. Wow, thank you. Pluto on the IC in composite and Sun trine Moon composite. Also Venus conjunct ascendant. Thank you. Okay, so this is gonna be last question for today, guys. I'm very happy that you are so proactive in this chat, and we will definitely continue with our composite series. Pluto on the IC in a composite chart can actually work very well. And this might be a little bit surprising for you, but I actually like to see this one, because you both really feel that this, what is happening between you two, really matters the most for you. Obviously, Pluto has a very transformative effect on both of you, and this will be all happening in your home environment. You will be really able to live together, but really to create something powerful together. Only watch out for codependency, because with Pluto on the IC, it is actually very difficult to live without partner. Okay, so you can really depend on the other, but this can also happen in healthy way. But definitely breakups, if you have Pluto on the IC in composite chart, are difficult. I'm not even sure if this can even happen, because that bond is really inseparable, and these people will not forget each other like never, because Pluto is the most powerful planet of all, and if you have it in composite chart, which is really chart of your relationship, and it is really on the most sensitive point of your chart, which is IC, that means that this is the relationship which really stroke you exactly into your heart. Okay, so it is powerful. Venus conjunct ascendant in composite. I bet no one would ever complain about this one. This is great, because you really love to be in this relationship, and you know, there's a lot of easiness and of course love with Venus, but you like to be seen together, okay, because ascendant, you know, it is really that our public self. So this is the couple who really likes and enjoy, I don't want to say publicity, but really public life, okay? You like to do things publicly because you are proud that you are together, okay? So people will see you and you will enjoy it, and people will also like you. Venus conjunct ascendant, this is really great. Okay, guys, thanks again. Looking forward to another composite live stream. I will definitely continue with composite aspects. I believe we all like aspects because we all know that it is where it's at. So another live stream, I will schedule it, and we will be discussing composite aspects. Okay, guys, thanks again for joining me today, and I wish you a very nice day. Bye bye.